Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my beautiful Aquariuses. This is a special reading for you. I had this feeling that there were some that needed like special attention. Well, I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe you're looking for like clarity in something. Um, but, anyways, I could feel it. And, I do believe we're all soul connected, so that's why I can feel it. Even if someone's new, um, it's our spirit guides. It's the reminder that we're all really soulmates. We all know each other. We just don't know it yet. So anyway, this is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Some of you are intuitively guided. Thank you for paying attention to your intuition. And some of you could certainly be in love with an Aquarius. By the way, if you're in love like romantically with an Aquarius, check out their moon sign also. I've been saying this a lot lately, but it is the truth. Like the moon is really those inner emotions, maybe the things you don't know, like the feelings that aren't spoken. So I definitely recommend that. Also, your own moon sign. The sun is kind of like what we show the world, you know. So, anyways, real quick before we get into your reading, I want to just let you guys know that I started a second membership group. We have level one, which is like a simple thank you, Sandy, for the readings. Level two is where we're gonna go live. I'm gonna try for once a week, every week. And this is where I leave it open to you and you can ask whatever questions you want. They are like mini personal readings. And I used to do this until I used to have a membership like this. I just loved it. I loved the people. Um, and I'm hoping like we all find our way back. But anyways, you don't have to be someone who was there. Anyone new, you know, it's just like you're part of our soul family. So I started that membership, and again, it's really unlimited. The only thing I ask is just, be respectful of people in the room. If there's, let's say, five, give everybody a chance to ask a question and then you can come back and ask another one. So, anyways, that membership is out there. I just want to let you know. All right. So, let's go ahead and see why we needed this special reading. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up our reading. We will use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. And you guys know, deep we go. For your main spread, we are going to use the Tarot of Dreams, and then we will bring in the major arcanas, which now have become a staple in our reading, but that's because they bring so much value. But let's go ahead and start with Mother Mary. Just going to calm my mind, and the rest will follow. Be colorblind, don't be so shallow. Okay. Mother Mary, beautiful words of wisdom. By the way, you can certainly ask your spiritual team to give you signs of confirmation throughout a reading. I feel like if you're here, then you know your spirit guides are here, without doubt. But you can ask, like, let me really feel the messages if it's for me. Sometimes I say random words, and I used to censor myself, but now I've realized that um, it's often your words, like a word that you ask your guides for me to use. I wouldn't go too crazy though, you know what I mean? But then again, that's between you and your guides. All right, let's go ahead and begin, Aquarius. And those intuitively guided. Mother Mary. Wow, got three. Okay. We have truth. I am lovingly honest with myself and others. Truth. I have to say, I've been getting this a lot. I'm going to bring this lid down a little bit. And it makes sense. All of a sudden I'm thinking about the universal year 9, and, cleaning house is really what this year is about, you know, being very truthful with myself, but also truthful with others. Okay. Know the truth. Watched over. I love this message. I allow myself to feel safe and enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. So I feel like this is a very particular message for you, knowing that you're being watched over, and even protected, sometimes protected from oneself. I know I needed that a few times. And then action, that means there's about something is coming about that you're going to need to take action in if you so choose. Okay. Today, I take action related to the priorities that I have previously put off. Again, reminding me of the universal year 9. Like, what can I clear up? What can I finish? What can I leave behind? So when 2026 opens, and I don't feel like we have to wait for 2026 to open, the year of the magician, I feel like it's when we're ready. When we've done, this year is the year of the hermit. And that is all about like inner reflection, your spirituality. Often I feel like the hermit's energy is you figuring out, us figuring out that, this light that we seek, it's within us. And many times we can be our own heroes. When I've reflected back on my own life, it's one of the things I figured out. Like many times I was waiting for someone to come in and save me, and it didn't happen. So ultimately I had to save myself, but I remember thinking I didn't think I could, but then I did. And then my whole life changed. So, okay. Well, let's bring in the major arcanas. All right. Anyone's new, also, I want to let you know that I always pre-shuffle your decks. This is when I'm just really meditating on the sign, on the energy. It's almost like my spiritual team is letting me know who's coming. All right. We'll shoot for 3 to 4. We have the Death card Scorpio. And then we have the Devil for the Capricorn. Interesting. I don't know why I'm saying interesting, other than the Death card's looking back. Death card speaks about closing of doors. It is the year. It's like using this sickle to clear away the weeds. The Devil can certainly talk about temptations. I feel like the Devil often casts like illusionary energy. Maybe that's why I told that story in the beginning where I felt stuck. I wasn't stuck. Where I was waiting for someone to come in to save me. I became my own savior. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like it must be tied back. Because I don't feel like I would tell the story otherwise. Alright, but I'm looking at the Death card, looking at Mother Mary, and what's pointing out, or what's really standing out, is the energy of action. So again, if we remember the Death card is closing of doors, it's transformation is what it is. But it is about rebirth. It's like don't fear the Death card, because what lies on the other side when this new door opens, it's good. All right, we have the moon. Interesting. I wasn't going to read reversals, but it came out face up in reversal. I kind of feel like I have to leave it there. See if anything else wants to come out. By the way, the moon is. All right, well, so much for 3 to 4. The moon is card Pisces, ruler of Cancer. Power. Hangman. And if you notice, the hangman is swaying to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. And what he's swaying towards is your major arcana, the star, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. If there's any sign who knows that they can manifest, and if you don't know that, then you have to learn to trust within yourself. I feel like, these dreams, these wishes we have, this is about working hand in hand with our spiritual team because they're always involved in your life. Some of you may have been like in this energy of pause, but could certainly be because a certain door needs to be closed. It's like I want to say it doesn't have to be closed, it's up to you. But I feel like without closing that door, because the death card is mirroring your major arcana, the star, does that impede my hopes, my dreams, my wishes? I feel like something happened. I feel like something is somewhat unexpected. I feel like it already happened, by the way. I'm not predicting anything any tower. I feel like it's already happened. And I do feel like it affected you. But it's interesting because I get this feeling of, will I come back one day and actually be thankful for this tower? I have a feeling you will be. The hangman is a pause in action, but then Mother Mary is saying it's action time. But he's looking right at your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. So this may be the perfect time. I want to say what I feel is like some of you have been in this dark energy. It's like a dark cloud has been following you. Some of it could have been man-made. I'm going to be honest. But some of it I feel is planetary. I feel like, man, I've just been in this streak of bad luck. But I feel like you can change that. I feel like it is your action that lifts that cloud. And it's almost like it's a must to bring something about. It's not a must that you close this door, but if you want to manifest whatever you're manifesting in the star, then it is a must. It's almost like Mother Mary has been holding you back for your own protection because let's just say at least the overcoming. First of all, there have to be the realization, and maybe where truth also comes in, right? The realization of anything that's holding you back. Sometimes it's just the uncertainties of, what lies behind this new door. Well, it's mirroring your dreams. So I feel like there's nothing to fear here. All right. I feel like some of you are clearing up like things that you used to be tempted to, people that you used to be tempted to, which tells me that you yourself have had this transformation. Like, it's almost like now I can read people, I can read energy, I trust my intuition. And if I get a bad feeling about someone, now I trust that. And I do think it's trial and error before we get to that point of truly trusting our intuition. But I feel like that's really the secret, too. These towers will happen. That is life. But can we rebound? The answer is yes. All right, let's bring in the Tarot of Dreams. We have the Knight of Swords. Hello, world. So here is the new chapter, the next chapter. Even though in the world's energy, I do feel like whatever you're doing in this energy, by the way, look who's right in the middle of this new portal, the Fool. Like allowing oneself to have this new beginning, allowing this new chapter to open up. Maybe you do have more control of it. First of all, I do feel like 2026 is going to open up whether we're ready or not. But what I was going to say with the world's energy, because it is the last tarot card, I do feel whatever happens in that energy, chances are it's for the rest of your life. But I mean that in like a good thing. Remember the Fool who's right in the middle there? He has cleaned house. The Fool only has extracted the wisdom of past experiences, but this is someone who is they're allowing themselves to be free. Free of, free from, or just simply free. Okay. Oh my gosh. And then we have the Wheel. So look at that. Your destiny and this next portal are now connected. You have the Knight of Swords opening this up. Could be communication. I feel like a knight is sent by a queen or a king. Can be also truth, though. But we'll see. Let's keep going. I mean, the world. And then your destiny connected to that. That tells you you're moving into a destined time. Can talk about like when I say a destined time, like certain seeds, certain wishes may have been like predestined. Like something happening in its destined time. Maybe it can't happen before it. It was meant to happen at this time. Well, this is the time. All right, face up first, we have the King of Pentacles. Can be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. We have, interesting, the Queen of Cups. Funny, I was going to call her Gemini. She's not a Gemini. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. We have the Nine of Swords under the Knight of Swords. And then interesting. So here's some restriction. Here is a block coming under the world, and it's mirroring the devil. So here is that illusionary energy. This is a self-created prison. This is when one builds walls around themselves, trying to protect themselves. But does it really protect you? No, because we can all see you. And if you look at this image, like this person is completely naked, but her back is to us. It's like she doesn't want us to see who she really is. Why? Like, what is she afraid of? Well, again, with the devil mirroring her energy, I say her, can be him also. It does feel illusionary. Maybe it's someone who just doesn't trust within themselves or think they're good enough at something. Maybe some of you, because the devil can also talk about temptations. Like you need to be truthful with yourself. Because this is a self created prison, the only person who can uncreate it is you. But then it's really freedom. It's freedom. Now, the Nine of Swords is before that. Interesting. But it's mirroring the Death card. So, what has you in a state of worry? What has you not believing in yourself? This is what you may want to think about and then maybe sweep out the door. It's something that has landed in your head as self doubt. But the Nine of Swords, the meaning of the card, first of all, it is worry, but it's unnecessary worry. And it is this unnecessary worry that created this Eight of Swords. I do feel like you do have to break free. I feel like this is a human condition where we do this because, on a spiritual level, once we really trust within our spirituality, we know our intuition is like our guiding light, and that's what we trust. That's what we trust. Okay. So I'm not going to make it major, but I do feel like, first of all, whatever has you in the Eight of Swords energy, with the Nine of Swords right before it, meaning unnecessary worry. Think about that. With this tower, that's what you're worrying about. Even knocked the tower out of its position. Look at this bottom line compared to the top line. It's interesting though, because this tower is still standing. It hasn't fallen. There's nobody falling from it. This tower, the steeple, has fallen. The people are fallen. Or a person, I often feel it's someone who's fallen from grace, so to speak. But this tower, I feel like it's illusionary. It's not real. It's what I may think. Like, I know there will be a tower. Why wouldn't there be? Well, because maybe, just maybe, some of what you've been through was teaching you, maybe really learning how to trust yourself above all. This is the illusion that you're stuck. But again, it is an illusion. I'm not going to say that means it's easy peasy, but with the Fool in the middle of the world's energy, it feels to me like, yes, the wisdom of my experiences is important, but let go of the rest. Try to let go of the rest. Okay. I just don't feel like this tower is real. The Nine of Pentacles. Wow. Nine of Pentacles. Interesting. It is card of Virgo, and it's coming over or under the King of Pentacles. Could be. We also have Capricorn on the board, though. But the Nine of Pentacles is about independent success. This is when you're seeing the fruits of your labor. I love the Nine of Pentacles because I feel like this is when you know that you can stand on your own 2 feet. And that's that. Like, and I feel like when you know that, or you feel that, then I feel like you feel differently about other things because I feel like when I feel strong within myself, well, then I don't allow whatever caused this energy to affect me because it is a block, but it's illusionary at the same time. I'm not saying what caused it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is it just feels like you shouldn't carry that energy along with you anymore. You know what I mean? Um, I guess you got to put a little trust back in the universe. But yet, look what the universe, the world, is bringing your will, your destiny. You know, it's interesting because the wheel has the tower above it and below it. So I feel like first and foremost, it's saying there is no tower that you cannot withstand. And yes, some of them set us back, but only for a time being. You know, they are temporary. And then you have the hangman actually swaying away from that tower and now moving closer and closer to this person's hopes and dreams. So it's like the tower is affecting this person less and less and less. And then Mother Mary asking you, you know, let's just put it this way, this will be a time where action is needed, if you so want to manifest, which of course you do. I mean, look at the difference between the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. Completely different energy. Nine of Pentacles, I don't feel like I would carry the Nine of Swords energy, which again is extreme worry. Yes, you know, there could have been a time you were even worried about your money, but even that looks like, you know, it's showing you successful. And it's showing it you successful because of you. So I also want to say, you know, this has been a time where a lot of people are losing jobs, but there may be something next on the pipeline that could just be perfect. Or you decide to do your own thing. I feel like whatever your dream is, this may be the time. So you can see how the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords really don't serve the energy of creating, right? Of manifesting. This will only manifest me more things to worry about. This will bring me things to be grateful for. But it is your action, just like Mother Mary asked for. All right. We have the Six of Cups. So, Six of Cups under the Queen of Cups, kind of connecting the King and Queen, could be energy of, you know, Six of Cups is happy energy. So this wouldn't be energy that, you know, I feel that would be destructive in any way. Because I feel like these two people might be thinking about each other. They might even both have become single. And it's interesting because, you know, the Six of Cups is mirroring the star. But again, I have happy memories here. We have, Ace of Swords. That is about truth. It is your truth. You know, it's interesting because it's coming under the Nine of Swords. Actually, I'm going to put it here. And then look at this faith. Faith. Gotta have a little faith. Card of the Hierophant. Also, card of Taurus. It is like your spiritual team is talking directly to you. Some of you, you know what this reading is talking about. Like you're picking it up just like that. I do feel like this ace may be some type of communication. First and foremost, I do feel like it's your truth, your own truth. Like you being very, because I feel like if I'm not honest with myself, if I don't know, or if I don't claim that I created this self created prison, then how can I ever free myself? What am I worrying about? And is it things that are outside of my control? Well, if it's outside of my control, divine will always tell you, hand it to us. Let us control it. Remember, you're being watched over. And look, this feels like direct communication. Now, it could also be communication from another, but I am not going to leave out where I feel like your spiritual team is connecting, speaking right to you. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. It's interesting, though. I just realized Six of Cups mirroring the Nine of Swords. Happy, treasured memories, worry, extreme worry. Worry I can't control. Well, I can control it by letting it go. I feel like if there was any prior towers in your life, try as hard as you can not to allow them to stop you from having this beautiful transformation, because that's what it feels like. I may not know it until I'm in it. I have to trust. I have to have faith. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Five of Wands. What have I been fighting for all along? Five of Wands is ego. Ego, baby. It is fighting. It is drama. And it really is no one wanting to back down. I say this all the time, but I feel like the only solution in that energy is to leave it. Like, not allow myself to get pulled into it. Some of you, it is a five, so it is about change. And listen, maybe your faith is what's guiding you. Trust that, especially over this energy. It's interesting because in the Five of Wands, there's so much ego. And the person in the Nine of Swords is like looking right up at it. So, I just want to say if I expect there to be change, I feel like it would be very, very, like, I feel like, let's say it's a family, I feel like we would need outside help. King of Cups underneath that. Queen of Cups right there. She may have cut ties with him. She may have decided enough is enough. She is looking out towards the future, not in the back, not towards the back. And the King of Pentacles is looking right at us. What's funny is I was, someone put a time stamp on a comment so that, that means you want me to go and listen to it. And I did. And while I was listening to it, I was just looking at the cards and I was thinking, I'm like, oh my God, they all look like they're looking right at me. So I don't know if you feel that, but I felt that like, I was like, they look like they're looking right at me. But the King of Pentacles looks like he's looking right at me right now. I have a feeling the Queen is looking at you. Some of you may be the Queen, or you may be the King. We have two towers with the wheel in between. This could certainly speak about something new, maybe between them, because they're both following the wheel. Six of Cups. I have a feeling if it has anything to do with love, can it relate to someone of the past? Well, that's really the meaning of it. But I also read it as past lives because I do feel like it's soulmate type energy, not soulmate type, soulmate energy. But remember, there's all kinds of different soulmates. Sometimes it's just a good old friend who comes back into our life and, changes everything. changes my perspective, but sometimes it is love. Here's the thing though, I feel like if I'm over here waiting for anyone, but yet they're not showing, at least in the way that you hoped, I feel like accept that as your answer. Accept that as your answer. Because I feel like once you feel really strong within yourself, I feel like you'll take less and less bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to wait around for someone. You want me or you don't want me. It's really that simple. I'm not saying you have to marry me. I'm saying, do you want to take a chance or do you not? I don't feel like it's the same person in a Six of Cups, though. The one I was just speaking to. All right. Let's bring in the Gilded Tarot. And I'm going to give it a shuffle. And then we'll cut it. And the reason why I cut each deck as I bring him into a reading is because I want to introduce him into the reading that already is. All right, so let's start at the beginning. So we're looking at this Knight of Swords. It could be potential communication. Yeah, I don't know. He is marrying the Queen of Cups. We have the Queen of Swords. We have the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, well, first of all, I feel like that's really good news. Like, if you've lost a job, that's what the Tower means to you. This is showing you, like, doing something new. Um, but I often feel in the Eight of Pentacles is something I love. Like, it's something that, it's like when I do tarot, sometimes Sam has to come in and, like, be like, okay, that's enough today. Because I could keep working and working and working. Um, to me, it's just like watching movies all day. It's like telling the story of Aquarius. But anyway, so the Eight of Pentacles is the willingness to go into something as the apprentice. Remember, the Fool is right in that portal. But in the Eight of Pentacles, it's like if you're willing to go into something, but yet I do feel like your interest would be piqued at the same time. And if your question is, can I grow? Well, it's showing whatever I begin here, it's showing the success. It's showing you reaping the benefits of it. And by the way, in the Nine of Pentacles, you're the one who's reaping the benefits of your hard work. Some of you could have been very hesitant about beginning something new. Maybe you were just afraid that maybe I don't know enough. But this is the type of energy I feel like you don't need to know. You'll learn it as you go. Truly. And as you go, you'll continue to grow to the point of success if one chooses, right? You do need to focus on it. It's not the only thing you want to focus on in your life, but it's an important component. But I do feel like for some, it's just like you do need to trust yourself. Maybe it's trusting within your own voice. Some of you, I swear, you got like this direct connection to above, and who knows? Maybe you're speaking it. When you're on a spiritual path, sometimes it is hard to really trust within yourself, to trust that what you're receiving is coming from a higher source, even your higher self. But then I feel like the more you do it, the more you'll just trust yourself. Look at this. The Nine of Pentacles. You were meant for success. You were meant for this success. Hello. And look how quickly it goes from the eight, potentially starting something new, whether I asked for it or I didn't. It's showing you that you have this creative ability within yourself, that you can truly create success for yourself. Again, if you're thinking of working for yourself, what beautiful energy to support you. But it doesn't have to be like self-employment, but it is your ideas, your epiphanies, your work. And you're the one who's reaping the benefits. How interesting. It is like I lost a job, but then I move into the Eight of Pentacles. First, I had to believe in myself, but as soon as I believe in myself, start focusing. Very quickly, I feel like I start to see it grow. And it's on the wheel, and the wheel just makes me feel like it's going to grow and grow and grow. Have a little faith in yourself. It's also interesting that we have two Nine of Pentacles because I am wondering if this Queen and King are going to be connected. Because again, they're following the world and the wheel. So somehow, some way, they'll be in your life. I feel like one of them is you. And it may be what I felt earlier, like it could be two people who become single. You know, two people who I don't feel like are connected to another. And listen, I feel like if that's what I was waiting for, yet someone hasn't taken action, accept that as the answer. Because sometimes I feel like we wait for people who really don't deserve for us to wait for them. And then, why? Well, because sometimes we're just afraid of the uncertainties. But what if I told you there's a potential of better love? Would that change your mind? At least make you think about it? Huh. Hello, Knight of Cups, unexpected couple fulfillment. I knew these two were connected, and I knew these two Nines of Pentacles. I felt like one is yours, one is theirs. Unexpected cup of love. We have the Nine of Wands over the Queen, and then we have Page of Cups. Interesting over the Nine of Swords. You know why I find that interesting? For just a second, I feel like this Queen was thinking to herself, this king hasn't seen me since we were young. I'm now a queen. I'm no longer the page. Will this king feel the same way? Or vice versa, by the way. The Nine of Wands, to me, it's an important energy because this is why I call the person in the Nine of Wands my spirit warrior. This is someone who reflects back on their life without judgment. They're looking at everything they've overcome, everything they've learned along the way, at least the last 9 years. Is very fitting when we're finishing out. I mean, you have 3 9s already. So we're finishing out this ninth year, right? And then it's the world. So doing that like without judgment and really, I feel like the person in the Knight of Wands starts to understand, like, look at how much I have grown. Like, truly. Look at the things that I've overcome that maybe at the time I never thought I would. So it's really a beautiful type of reflection. It's like she is inviting her inner child to come back out and play. Hmm. Okay. This queen is holding a cup. This knight is bringing in a cup. It feels like all the energy moves quickly. we have the Seven of Pentacles. So, Seven Pentacles came in reverse, but I have to tell you, I really don't feel like it's meant to be in reverse. I feel like the only reason it's in reverse is if I'm not trusting. So, Seven of Pentacles is exactly what I felt earlier, sometimes predestined. Um, these are about, this is like your tree of life. These seeds on the tree, I feel like they're your intention. They're your soul's intentions. You know, things that I wanted to accomplish in this lifetime. If we take the human part out of it and remember that we're spiritual beings, borrowing this human body to have these adventures, to have these experiences, to learn, to grow, to evolve, then we think a little differently, right? Then we stop taking like the wrong people's advice or even their bullshit. It is in reverse though, and it's coming over the Eight of Swords. I just feel like for some of you, there's like this doubt. Maybe I'm telling you that there's someone else you're going to love, and maybe you're saying, I'm waiting for this person, which is your choice. But what if this person just keeps giving you the same energy over and over again? Can you see yourself doing that for the next 9 years? And then I guess I got to let that be. Interesting, we have the 7, 8, and 9 of Pentacles also connected. And now we also have the 2 of Pentacles. 2 Pentacles. So, I feel like at least you're asking yourself the question. At least you're asking. I feel like that's where it all begins. So, the 2 Pentacles, they call it the Juggler's card. I really think it's more about using the logical mind, especially with all this earth energy here. And then we have the 10 of Wands. And then we have the 2 of Wands. Beautiful. It's almost like someone's coming in to help lift some of the burden that you've been carrying. And lift it they do, because immediately from the 10 of Wands, you go into the 2 of Wands. And to me, that is my yes card. It does speak about stepping upon a new path. But it's the path of the wand, so action-oriented, passionate. I would be like open to receiving epiphanies, ideas. Again, this direct connection down here. Like, trust what you're feeling. Trust what you're receiving. I can't feel anything bad up here because I do feel like this is a type of energy where I feel like just the burdens of life just feel lighter, gone. Maybe even they're gone. 2 of Wands is mirroring that Page of Cups with the Queen of Cups right there. It is interesting that the 9 of Wands is also over this Queen, with the 10 of Wands being right here. So I feel like that's part of the reflection she's had. Like, has life been fair? Have I been carrying the brunt of the responsibility for something? Have I had enough? I feel like in the 10 of Wands, I've had enough. So it's like you're letting down those wands and you're stepping upon this new path. And it's like your inner child is just coming out to play. It feels very good. Just accept this one part. Now, I do feel like for some of you, this reading, I feel like is going to help maybe turn you around. I don't know if that's the right word. All right. So I just want to ask the question. Okay, well, my guides know my question. So I was going to ask the question of this king and queen, is this energy that is truly meant to be, like, is this energy that your spiritual team would like to see you in? Is it predestined? That's what was going on in my head. And look at this. Beautiful. The Knight of Pentacles. So, do I feel like it was meant to happen? I do. Knight of Pentacles, it's a slow moving knight, but it moves slow on purpose. It waits for the perfect time to come in. Well, maybe two people freeing themselves from what was. And then that is the perfect time. If this feels like perfect love, though nothing is perfect, but you know what I mean. Let's just say a higher vibrational type of love, then this is who I'd want ushering it in. Knight of Pentacles tells you that I come at the right time, and what I bring will truly enhance your life. So it wasn't meant for maybe someone back here. It's meant for you. Look at this. And then we get justice. I feel like, and then you cut those ties. I feel like your spiritual team is like, yes. Justice tells you that something within your life is unbalanced. And justice is about making you whole again. But it does need you to take action by using that sword of justice and just kind of like the sickle of the death card, right? I'm clearing away the weeds. Whatever doesn't fit any longer's got to go. And what does that what happens when you do that? You become balanced. Well, that's what the Knight of Pentacles is waiting for. Because that will be the right time. So, do I feel like the Queen and King are meant to be together? Now I absolutely do. Okay, I feel like I don't even want to push that because I just feel like it is. Now, let's talk about their signs for a second because I know neither one of them are your signs, but I don't really feel like that matters. So, King of Pentacles is someone who, when they come into the picture, they're able to see the big picture. You know what I mean? Like they can see the big picture. Queen of Cups, loving, emotional, nurturing, um, psychic, very intuitive, you know what I mean? Probably who's picking up these direct signs. It's almost like your guides are saying, like, just have faith and we'll take care of the rest. Well, not just faith. You do your part, we'll do our part. And that's exactly what these knights are doing. They're doing their part. So someone will be proclaiming, I don't want to say love right away. Could be. But let's just say they're bringing love to the table. And the Knight of Pentacles brings it into your physical world. It means it's tangible. But just the way he's connected to justice, finding balance, I feel like whatever that may mean for you, that feels like the answer. Okay, I'm going to bring in the clarifying love situations. I feel like this is one of those readings that are very straightforward. Doesn't mean sometimes you don't get it the first time. I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, okay. We'll take you. And we're going to take it the way it came out and see if anything else wants to come out with it. Okay. All right. So, liberated path. Embrace freedom as you break through. taking steps towards your true potential. Wow. It kind of wraps this reading up. Liberated path. Maybe that's what you find when you break out of that Eight of Swords energy. You're liberated. Embrace freedom as you break through, taking step towards your true potential. Again, anyone has told me that I couldn't, I wouldn't, I shouldn't, you're showing them, oh, I can, I will, I'm gonna. We have whirlwind. Don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. Look at that. Here's the drama. Choose peace. Don't get caught up in the drama. Choose peace. Wow. Like, I got chills from that. And when I get chills, I just know, um, I know the importance of those two messages. All right. I am going to bring out the romance angels since love did come out. You know, I just feel like your reading is so clear. Okay. Look at this. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. We know where that belongs. Right down at that Eight of Swords and that Nine of Swords. Okay. Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised to see it, but I feel like your spiritual team is like right on point here. Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. I have a feeling it's been a while. You know, I feel like as this cup comes in, just allow yourself to enjoy it, even if it's just the beginning. You know, it's like this king is bringing out this queen's inner child. And to me, that is the playfulness. That's the flirting and, you know, all that. All right, let's see if anything else wants to come out. Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. You're calling in soulmate. Well, I feel like they're calling you in also. And I had no doubt it was a soulmate because the wheel connected to the world. Look at that. Release your ex. You know, nobody can make you. But I feel like Mother Mary is just saying be very truthful with yourself. Don't think that no one else is going to love you. You know, sometimes people put these thoughts in our heads. Look at the source, look at what it's coming from, you know. And I feel like turning around and being like, watch me. My life will be unrecognizable. And you watch from back there. But here's the thing, I don't feel like it's like as you reach this potential success and potentially fall in love, I don't think you're thinking about the past. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, I mean, it may come up in your mind. You know, like all those who told me I couldn't, look at my life now. That's proof enough. Choose peace, not drama. Release your ex. The time has come to take back or to clear your energy. Well, that's that Nine of Swords, that unnecessary worry. Allow your heart to sing with joy as this cup comes toward you. And wrapped up in that cup is a soulmate. It's that clear. And some of you, this connection you're having with your spiritual team is also very clear. Just trust it. Follow your intuition. And I feel like, and the rest will take care of itself. That's what I feel like. All right. I'm going to let that be. But Aquarius, I found this quite beautiful. I understand that some are still recovering, but I feel like we're seeing the other side, all the potential that you've yet to come across, but it's like on your path. Take the actions, right, that you feel guided to take. Allow, this Knight of Cups, it's unexpected, but unexpected or not, it's going to show. And then even that Knight of Pentacles, right? Guardian angel energy. Well, someone special, one of your very special spiritual team members is stepping forward to help you bring this about. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave that be. I loved it. Again, I feel like for some, it's going to be very clear. I feel like for others, there's still some clearing that may need to be done if you so choose. I'm not here to pressure you. I'm only here to show you that. And by the way, you can look back at your own life and look at past relationships. Like every time we break up with someone or they break up with us, we think, that's it. I'm never going to love again. And then you meet someone else. And then you meet someone else. And you fall in love. And remember how I said the world energy I feel like lasts the rest of your life and beyond. Well, it makes sense. Okay. I love you guys. I thank you. This is one hell of a reading. Truly. I loved it. I thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, it doesn't want